first responders will be offered the AstraZeneca vaccine starting this month. Are you worried some of them that are offered that vaccine will say no and opt to wait until they qualify for the other vaccines under the age criteria? We're seeing a lot of people reject AstraZeneca in Europe because the clinical trials obviously had lower efficacy rates than Pfizer and Moderna.
Yeah, and I think we need to, I think it's a really good point. You cannot compare the clinical trials that were done by AstraZeneca, that were done by Moderna, that were done by Pfizer. Both the messenger RNA vaccines, so Moderna and Pfizer, the clinical trials were done in different populations, in different places, and using different protocols. And the fact that they both had very high results was reassuring. The AstraZeneca one was done in a different time frame where there were more variant cases around. They were done in different populations using different protocols again. And we really need to go back and think. There was over 150 different vaccine candidates last summer that were all developing their clinical trial protocols to try and see if their vaccines were going to work. So far, we have 3 that are approved for use in Canada, but the clinical trials were all done at different time periods in different populations. And the one thing about the AstraZeneca trial was that when they recruited into the trial, they did it in several different countries. They had very few people that were over the age of 65 in that trial. So the restrictions on use that the recommended restrictions in some countries, including the NACI recommendations here in Canada, I will note that Health Canada has approved it for use in all adults. Based on real-world experience as well as the clinical trials. But the clinical trials data was limited in older people, and NACI recognized that. And so they said, we know it works really well in this younger adult age group, so focus on that. What we have been learning, and I mentioned that in my opening diatribe today, but we're learning as we go with this. It's rapid response research. It means that we take what we know today from the UK, and tomorrow we'll know more, and next week we'll know more, and we're going to know a whole lot more about how the vaccine works in the AstraZeneca vaccine works in older people from the UK within the next few weeks, because they have been using both vaccines, Pfizer and AstraZeneca, in all age groups, but starting with older people in the UK interchangeably. And we are seeing good response from both vaccines in the real world. But that data is still being compiled. It takes time for all of that to come together. And we will, absolutely expect we're going to see more information about how well it works in older people. And NACI will be revising the recommendations as appropriate when that information becomes available. I will also say that these vaccines are used interchangeably in the UK, and they work as effectively, both of them. With some of the trial data from AstraZeneca, the trials themselves were challenging, and the 2-dose efficacy that is being used, that Health Canada based the approval on, was about 60-some%. But if we look at the data and the different arms of the trial, they did a single-dose arm, and the prevention, the effectiveness, the efficacy, so that's in the trials we call it efficacy, in real life we call it effectiveness, but in the clinical trial of this single dose, it was 87%, I believe it was, 85 or 87% effective after 12 weeks. And when they did the 2-dose one, the people who got their second dose 12 weeks or later also had much higher protection from that vaccine. So the bottom line, which the WHO with vaccine experts are saying, is around the world, these vaccines work. They all work. They're effective, they're safe, so take the vaccine that you're offered. And I would say that to everybody out there. The AstraZeneca vaccine works well. It has high levels of protection after 3 weeks. And we know that we may even find that it is effective for a longer period of time with a single dose, like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So the Johnson & Johnson and the AstraZeneca are both viral vector vaccines. So again, they're another new platform, similar to the messenger RNA vaccines are different, but they're the same type of platform. So we're learning more as we go. And yes, we will be coming out with a prioritization for people who are in our essential workers, people who can't work from home, first responders in the coming days, and the AstraZeneca will be the one that we'll focus on because it's fridge stable, which means we can be much more agile in how we're able to get it to people's workplaces and things like that. All of these vaccines are amazing, great vaccines. They're safe and they're effective.